We call the meeting to order in the town of Walpole, the Board of Sewer and Water Commission, time being 6:30 PM on January 8th, 2024, the new year. I call this meeting to order. We have a posted agenda, thank you, for the meeting. And we do have an appointment this evening in about, here we go, in about 10 minutes. So we'll start off with the superintendent's status report that was just hand-delivered. I'll turn that over to Scott.
So on the 12th of December, we had a water main break. I know your hard copy here says Hemlock, it was actually East Street. Same as Cindy, it was a circle crack on the 12-inch main. MTUs, we had an issue with the server going down. It was related to the emergency electrical work done on Friday at the town hall. They straightened it out today. There was a little bit of back and forth with Mueller and town staff, but that's been resolved. The water main replacement bid has been recommended for award to Diggett Construction. That will be for Bird, Allen Streets, and Riverview Place. We've begun the prep work for the cleaning of the raw water transmission lines, installing T's and doing some miscellaneous work that has to be done prior to it taking place. The redundant line to central storage has also been recommended for award to Ferraria Construction. We're still on schedule for Morningside Drive. We had a ship date of the 25th for the pumps, and the contractor is ready to mobilize with a date of January 22nd. So that's still ongoing. And we're still,
Is that weather permitting or something, or is that just?
well, yeah, that's the tentative date for them to come out and start mobilizing, with the equipment coming around the 25th. So naturally, if we have a sudden blizzard or something, that'll be a factor, but we don't foresee that. And that was our routine tasks.
Quick question on
Go ahead, Pradeep.
water main replacement. So the Bird, Allen, Spring, and Riverview, these are the streets.
Those streets are the ones that are identified to be replaced.
Okay.
Again, this is part of that cast iron replacement program. So there's an ongoing project. You can see this year after year.
Okay. And do you know how much long those project will go on? Like
The project?
Yeah.
It's going to be going on for many, many years because there's so much
For
water.
one street, like.
Oh, for one street?
Yeah.
No, this will be done as far as replacing the water mains themselves
Okay.
next year.
One month to, like,
It'll be more than a month.
more than one, okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll direct this to the director, Mr. Mattson. When are we going to resume getting the proposals for these contracts?
Say that again, Patrick.
Okay. When are we going to resume getting the proposals for these contracts?
The actual bid documents,
In other words, when they bid, they give you a proposal.
give us a bid.
Yes, and historically, we always got those proposals to look over and discuss. And if we had any kind of concern, we had those people come in to explain something to us. But lately, I have not been getting proposals. And what they would do is that when, part of the bid process is they provide X number of copies of their submission to you folks so you can contribute, can give them to us.
So that's typical, exactly what you just explained is typical of a request for proposals or a request for qualifications-based selection for a designer. But we've never brought all the bids to you.
Yes, you have.
No,
I had them at home.
not the bids.
Not the bids, but the proposals for the bids. It was what they will do.
The RFP that the town issues?
No.
Is that about the
No,
the engineering documents?
They're their documents they give you, the proposal, their proposal, they give you a proposal, don't they?
The engineer?
When they bid on these things, right, before they bid, actual bid, they give you a proposal.
No,
They don't.
no, these are competitive sealed
Or
bids.
they just come by and say, everything in that contract we're gonna do?
No, how it
Or the
works-
RFP, is they just accept
No.
everything in the RFP?
No,
They don't make any comments of what they're gonna do and why they're gonna do it and why we should pick them?
no, they don't, because
Well, that's something new.
it's a competitive bid process.
I know
You
that.
just can't pick somebody because.
I understand that, but we used to get information on the companies of how many people they had, what they were going to do, why we should pick them because of their experience. They had other towns' projects that they would show us about,
Right.
tell us. You know, we did a water main in, let's say, Brighton, they would say that. And here's some pictures of it. We finished it in X amount of
That's
days,
the typical-
on time.
That's the typical process when we select a.
Why don't we
engineer.
do you get that information?
No,
So you just get somebody saying we're going to bid X amount of dollars and pick them?
we draft a set of bid documents, okay? Whether it be through Weston and Sampson, AP Associates, or whoever our design engineer is.
Okay,
That design engineer puts together a set of bid documents and plans. Those bid documents and plans are advertised, Central Register, Combis, and local paper. When that happens, these companies that do this type of work submit a sealed bid on a certain date and time. The bids are then publicly opened, and then what happens after that is we check all their references, their qualifications, and their pricing, and then we make a recommendation of award, which is what you have in your
okay.
package tonight.
So the bid document has the information I was talking about. And now, we used to call those,
Bid documents typically have the
we used
scope of the project.
we used to call those proposals. You've changed the name on it.
I didn't change the name.
Well, somebody did. So, yeah, I think the commission should see the so-called bid documents.
Okay,
So that we can,
We can certainly do that, that's not.
oh, then that's fine, okay. That's sorted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was torture.
All right.
You have minutes to,
Yeah, moving right along, we have a set of minutes
thank you.
to review quickly from December 4th. If the commissioners would kindly peruse those and give me any comments. Do you see anything there that needs amending or editing? Do we have a proposal to accept the minutes?
Move to accept the minutes.
Okay, we have a motion, the second?
I second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 400. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have an appointment here in a couple of minutes. We can get Lee Stanton up here. We did have one correspondence to the commission. Terry Giovanni kindly sent us a Christmas card and wanted to wish the commissioners a Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and looking forward to a wonderful holiday and a Happy New Year. Looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, too. Thank you.
Why don't we, Lee, if you're ready, why don't we get going? That'd be good.
How is everyone? Happy New Year. I made, do you mind? I just did 5 copies there. And I thought we could, if you're ready, I thought we could start with a recap, unless you don't want it.
I'll hang on to one of them for Bill. See if it's
Okay, so in front of you, you just have your distribution map, our potential locations for a site on it. Okay, so if you recall, in May of 2023, you asked us to evaluate 5 different sites, which were
This is
Main Street, Mylod, Washington Street,
suggested
Pleasant
this.
Street, and Union Street at Route 1.
Bullard.
Immediately, as part of that evaluation, the Main Street, the Washington Street, and the Pleasant Street sites fell off. They were ruled out because we didn't have a proper location for a facility. So we went to Norwood with Mylod Street, with my understanding that was our preference, and Union Street as a second location. So Stantec has finished their hydraulic analysis. We have had several meetings with them in Norwood. I think the meetings have been good. I'm a little, I don't think you all have seen any correspondence from them. I think Stantec thinks the correspondence should go from Norwood to you all. I think Norwood probably hasn't gotten it to it yet. Suffice it to say, based off of my understanding and discussions with Stantec, that either site would work, and that the improvements required in the Norwood system are for the most part the same, depending on either site. So we did some hydraulic analysis. They looked at Walpole purchasing 1 MGD, while Sharon is purchasing what they have been allocated for, and they did that during all sorts of demand conditions. They also did it at 2 MGD. I think what I saw was that at 2 million gallons a day purchased from Walpole to Norwood, the improvements and the impacts to the system were pretty more significant than at 1 MGD. But suffice it to say, we are comfortable with moving forward with the next step, which in our opinion is designing a facility. Okay? So the question is, where are we designing a facility, right? So we have been talking about Mylod Street. I included a couple of aerials in your packet of the Mylod Street site, because obviously that site, it's a pretty good sized parcel owned by the town, but the site has other uses on it. It has soccer fields that are being used. So when I had looked at the site many months ago, I had thought we could fit a facility tucked in between the parking area and the road where the soccer fields are not. So I had considered that a reasonable site for the facility. And I included some of these. These are redundant. You all have seen this. This is the Sharon pump station. This is probably a larger facility than what we are talking about.
Excuse me, could you put this, can you show us on this map here?
Happy to. Yep.
This-
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. This is where we were thinking.
Okay.
Okay, and we're looking at roughly half an acre.
Don't walk away,
Okay, yep.
because the town also owns this entire corner here to the railroad track.
Awesome.
So,
This is what we have to do right now. We have to figure out, the next step is to get a surveyor out there and to figure out where this is going. And so we need to finalize the location of where that is going to happen. All right, so.
why is it better if we tell you where we want it to go and then you can tell the surveyor? I mean,
That's
I don't want
exactly-
to let the surveyor make the decision.
100% what you just said is exactly the way it should go. You tell me, this is about what we're looking at. Sharon was a very nice building, that's what they wanted. It was a brick and block building, gable, you see it. It's a little bigger than what we probably need, because they were doing a little bit more with it than what you all are going to probably do with it, but you get the idea. It's not that far, it's not that different. Okay, so we are ready to roll on that. And in speaking with Scott and I we got together a couple of weeks ago. He threw out a sixth location off of Mert Street. So you all probably know better than me, which is also in your packet. The town has just procured some land off of Mert Street, and it's a pretty good size site. So My guess is, and that has not been modeled and talked with Norwood about, that, but my guess is it's a similar situation as my lot, which is that we are looking at some system upgrades in the Norwood system to strengthen their system so they can provide Walpole 1 million gallons a day, plus whatever local distribution system improvements we need in order to do that, which
Where
is...
did that information come from about the town acquiring land on Myrtle Street?
Me. We didn't acquire, we already own it.
Yeah, and that land is all, these streets have no stormwater in them. All the stormwater from these streets go into those low lots at the end of Myrtle Street. Myrtle Street is not built contrary to this plan, this cul-de-sac and so forth, none of this is here.
I did
This is
include
all-
an aerial, if you flip,
Yeah.
there's an aerial of the Mert Street site, so you will see it's all, oh, did I not include it?
Aerial is there, yeah. Aerial is there, but there's no cul-de-sac on Mott
Okay, so
Street.
that's it, I think, and there's nothing there. You
Yeah.
can see, it's all, this is Mert Street, right? So this is the site pretty much in here.
Here.
And you're 100% right, there's nothing there.
There's nothing.
Yeah, my comment would be, if you check a wetland map, did you look at a wetland
I
map?
did
Because
not, no, not yet.
I think the
just-
reason that's vacant land is it's all wetland, nothing can be built on it.
Well, part of it's landlocked too. So, but the pump station wouldn't go anywhere near the wetlands, it would be up front. It's dry at the intersection of Lee and Burke, that little quasi cul-de-sac, it's dry.
Just, maybe I got this turned around here.
That's not wetland, yeah, but it's wooded land for now, isn't it?
It would need to
It's-
be cleared.
It's wooded, yeah.
My guess is that you will find a half an acre of uplands on that site to do, I mean, it's a massive site, so my guess is you would find air space to do what you want with it. So the next, just to repeat myself, the next step for us, I believe, is to iron out the location of the site for the pumping station. And then we move forward into design, and then we move forward into permitting.
I have a quick question on the Mylord Street proposal. Is there a chance for the building to be in the back of the lot, like back of the parking lot?
Yes, we can put the building, yeah, wherever you want. I think the building is 50 by 30,
Okay.
if that.
And there is additional lot here, isn't it? This side of the street.
Yeah,
Wooded lot.
this, as you go behind the landscaping company, all the way to the railroad tracks, that triangle piece
Oh, okay.
is owned by Walpole, but there was some covenant about soccer.
Exactly, that's what we were discussing today. Scott Lear and I were discussing that this afternoon, as to about a covenant or a deed restriction on the property. Which is another reason why we
Yeah,
look
well,
at the other side.
as Pradeep says, you have land, yeah, I suppose that having it up front's easy access, on the other hand, it's probably more exposed to vandalism or whatever than if it was in the back, but there probably is land within the soccer layout.
Yeah, the building will be aesthetically pleasing. It's not going to be something that's going to stick right out and say, oh my God, there's an ugly building. It'll be a nice building. And as far as relocating it and pushing it back on the lot, you can do most anything. Leah, correct me if I'm wrong, with piping. So,
Yes, we can. We will need to fence it there, but
And the piping from that will come back up to Mylard and down all the way to
Go
1A.
down through the pump station and back out. I would imagine. You're the designer.
yes.
It's not going to Washington Street, it's going back to 1A.
Right. Mine, back to mine.
My lot is a 12-inch water main, so it'll just come in.
Either
and
way.
out. Is it not, Scott? Let me just look at it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's 12-inch.
It's a 12.
So you don't have to, once you hit Mylard, you're all set.
Yep.
All right,
The goal is to get to the 12-inch line on Main Street.
right.
There is a portion of Mylod Street between Endian and the town line. We will need to fill that in, but it's 12-inch on the Walpole side. And I did just share with you that map there, which is the map we did when we were looking at these sites, that shows the town parcel on that site.
This is Merrill Street.
Yeah. Does. Okay.
So, I guess the question on the table, is it worth doing a pause and looking at Mert Street location? Or do we want to move forward with Mylod?
I would say we move forward with Mylar, that would be my proposal.
Well, you know, what are the pros and cons? That's hard to, determine what was said so far. But you have a bunch of criteria that you pick these two, right?
We looked at some criteria for picking, which was town parcels. We need a parcel that's owned by the town to put a facility on.
Okay, so, like, which one will cost more?
So if you, well, first of all, we don't have the answers to that because we just heard about the Mert site, which is kind of what we're talking about. Do you, I guess that's what the pause would be. A pause would look at the Mert site, look at what we have for local water main, which I think we have some. Look at clearing, do the environmental on that location. That location hasn't been a location that we looked at yet, if that makes sense.
So how can we move forward if we really don't have all the information?
Well, because I think we know these sites. This is an unknown site. I personally know the site. I live right next door to that, and I can tell you it's all wetland. It's going to be a horror show trying to use the Mert Street location. I think as you look into it, you're going to find out the distances are great and the topography is not conducive to what you're trying to do. So, I mean, I think Mylard is, from the beginning, we know we own the land there. You've got a short distance to Mylard Street, then you have everything you need. I mean, it's just a simpler solution. Frankly, we've fiddled and diddled. I'm worried about the time frame. Patrick has the report here, and they're moving ahead with 2 other sites to account for the 100 million gallons per day. They already signed up the towns in western suburbs. So, I mean, we can't sit back and think there's going to be plenty left for us by the time we get around to it.
Maybe we should have our director tell us about the Mert site. Is that appropriate from what you know? You have to use the mic.
In terms of what?
What would be the superiority of it to Mylard?
To building the facility.
So again, the goal is to complete the project as efficiently and economically as possible.
That is
Okay, so economics has to play a role in here. Now, just because it's the best solution doesn't mean it's the cheapest solution. Mylod Street is a good location. There's going to be a certain amount of piping, a certain amount of infrastructure that has to be done out there. The Mert Street connection, based on what I know that Norwood has, would probably be a little more infrastructure, because we'd probably have to run another line through the town of Norwood. Whereas I think when Stantec modeled Mylod, they said they didn't have to make many improvements, I don't think, right? And so,
There's another asterisk there, which would be, you're not aware the stormwater for those streets is running through those lots. So when the environmentalists get a hold of that, that's going to be a red flag for sure. Jeff, do you have something you want to
I
say?
had a question. You made a comment about when you modeled 2 million gallons per day, one site looked less favorable.
No, Not exactly. I said that the impacts to the Norwood system were significantly higher than at 1 million gallons a
Meaning
day.
we'd have to remediate that?
Yes. If, we
Which
have not.
side is that?
We have not, but they were both. They were the same on both sites.
The Mert Street, so Bullard's a 12-inch, but Mert is what, an
Yes.
8?
Merchant aid.
8.5?
Yeah. So we'd have to run a
So
12-inch
we'd
up
have to run
to,
a 12 to Knoll.
yeah, no, it's 12
Or
inches
whatever that is then?
off of Garden Parkway. Actually, Norwood has a 12-inch on Garden Parkway, so we're like 3/4 of the way there. So we'd have to pick it up at Garden Parkway, carry it up through Countryside, up Lee, up Merth to Lee.
I included the layout in there. I
Yeah.
included your,
It's not a significant amount of pipe, Jeff.
But it's going back to properties too.
No, it ought to be a normal trout.
The whole pause thing, right? How much time do you think? If we were to just look at, do a quick due diligence on it.
a month. I don't think it's a huge thing. And it's all, I think, if I can go back to what,
But I mean, my lot, if there's a deed restriction, we might be out of luck on that anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure, we're gonna have to get clarification on that somehow, some way. I can probably get that relatively fast.
I don't know, John, I mean, I don't want to throw Merrick away. I do think it's viable, but I like my lot, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Well, why don't we put it that we'll give 10 days or something, a week and a half to get the confirmation on that Mylard's acceptable. And if not, then we'll go look at Mert. Because I don't think, the soccer restriction was more for potential future home building or development than it was to inhibit the town from public uses.
on the soccer.
Yeah, because there's also parking there, there's walking, there's other things going on other than just soccer. So it's not exclusivity to soccer. It's just that I think they didn't want it, heavily developed.
So, I mean, does the board want to go with Marlott Street? I mean, if
Well, I
we
do.
don't wanna-
I want to get this going. We have we'll have a great site, but we'd be too late. The barn door will be
That's
closed.
not going to happen, John. It's not going to happen.
We have differences of opinion on how aggressive we should be moving on this.
Differences.
I'm concerned about
It's not
it.
going to happen. They're not going to close the door on us, John. They know we're coming.
John, is our target fall town meeting? I mean, if this doesn't impact us going in front of fall town meeting,
Fall town meeting for appropriation or legislation or so.
appropriation.
Appropriation could be the Springtown meeting, or the final stuff would be fall.
No, the appropriation would typically be in the fall, wouldn't it?
Well, typically, but we can do appropriation either town meeting.
I don't see us being ready to go out to bid for fall town meeting, if that's what you're talking about. I think Springtown meeting seems like a better timeline, right?
Will we have an estimated construction figure?
Well, yeah, so the next steps are design, which feels pretty straightforward to me. Survey, design, and then permitting. So the permitting piece is gonna take a little time, I guess, because the permitting is gonna tie in the interbasin transfer and some of those regulatory people, and it's just gonna slow it down.
It's possible you could piggyback on the engineering for the soccer fields too, because they had to file everything with conservation and planning board and everything anyway. That's all in the books already. The site's been surveyed and assessed, it's been analyzed. So I think that's a plus. And I would just say, we go ahead I mean, I've seen the town administrator pick up his phone and get a legal opinion in 15 seconds. So, I mean, we just have to ask him tomorrow to pick up his telephone and call KP Law and say, can we put a pump station over there on the Mylar property? Yes or no, please give me a memo. Done deal. Now, we don't have to worry about it. We
Okay,
don't
so
have to
if-
wait 2 weeks or a month or
If
whatever.
we go that route, John, and we get a favorable opinion from council,
Yeah,
then why don't we do this and just go with the Mylard Street thing? If
Right.
it doesn't work out, then we'll revert
if it
back.
doesn't work out, we'll revert to Mert. Yeah.
I like it. So if you have that survey, if you get your hands on that survey, or send it over.
I'm sure it's kicking.
Yeah, that'll save time
Oh, yeah.
and then we have to, somebody needs to walk the site and figure out where they like it, where we want this thing.
The actual structure.
So who would that be?
I think that would be probably a group.
Probably the DPW director?
I can go there.
I have to look up who that is.
Right now.
You, Donnie, and us, we take a walk.
I can decide. You might not like.
Donnie's gonna hold it.
We can choose a site, that's the easy part. The hard part is putting it where there's the least amount of resistance and/or concern. That's all.
Yeah, the back corner there.
Like I said, as far as putting it in the back corner, you can do anything with piping for deep, you can run the pipe down.
That corner closest to the railroad bridge, right?
Point to the back corner again. Warren.
Right here.
What about that triangular piece to the left there?
It's a whole other, I mean, this is already cleared. You got a cleared area for staging, for the construction, for access, for laying a pipe. That's all. You're gonna have to do a new wetland study. You're gonna go through all the committees. I mean, this site's already been developed.
We're still gonna have to go through those studies.
Well, they can be expedited, put it that way. They should be.
It should be, but we're still gonna have to do.
We can show the conservation, you already did this, here's the plan you approved, here's the buffer zone, here we are.
Yeah, they approved the soccer field, but not a building.
Well, do they like drinking water?
Soccer field uses a lot of water.
What are the chances
Yes,
that
they
they're
do.
going to tie us into facilities if we put a building there?
Our facilities?
Use their facilities.
No, it's,
No, we have quid pro quo. Now, the recreation likes to use our Jarvis Farm.
no, it's
So-
ancillary, it's a public water system. Like this building here.
You don't think they're going to want bathrooms?
No. It's not for, it's not for employees to.
One quick question. Mylord Street location, where the Norwood will supply the water from? Which side? Like other side of the railway track or from the Ryan Drive side?
To the right, or to the east of the railroad tracks, is that what you're asking?
So
That box that I drew on there is pretty much what we're talking about.
So where's the Norwood connection will be coming from?
Where's the what?
Norwood connection will be coming from? If the location is here.
May I?
Sure.
Here, do you see this? So this is the Norwood line right here, and there's the soccer field
Oh,
site.
this is boundary wall? or is
That's
the-
exactly correct. So we'll have to build some water main to connect it in here.
But
It's
there's-
short
there's-
distance.
There's nothing,
There is
This-
nothing
the
down
Rhine Drive.
here. There's no water main
yeah,
here.
that's what I'm asking. Like, let's say if it's here, this is the Norwood side. Do they have enough pipes there to
We have to
supply?
build pipes. We'll have to
Okay.
build pipes.
That's a question. Because in the Mount Street, there's a line coming from the Walpole Main Street, from the Norwood side.
All right, what is the dark blue?
So Main Street is Route 1A, we took that out because we do not have any property on that site. There's no, we need a parcel to put the facility. So that actually fell off the list pretty quick.
No, so the Mark Street location, that will get water from Norwood, from the main street, isn't it? Because the Norwood has a big pipe on Main Street.
Sure. When we lock in on a site, Norwood is going to tell us what pipelines need to get constructed in order to serve Walpole 1 MGD.
So do we know anything about Mylord Street? Let's say if you lock in on Mylord Street.
Mylod Street is one of the sites that they looked at, yes.
Okay.
The answer to
And
that
they
is
have
yes.
something nearby?
Yes.
Okay,
They,
okay.
MERT, they haven't looked at yet.
Okay.
MERT is something new.
Sounds good.
Okay. So we're going to try to go with Mylard Street, is that correct?
Well, now you're talking about wetlands, and how much of an impediment is that going to be to us?
No, the Mert Street, the Mert
Mert
Street
Street's got the
location was the one that was.
Merck Street has
Yeah,
it,
not
right?
not Mylard.
No, did you say Mylard or Merck?
Mylard,
You want to make that the
number one.
number one? Okay.
That's what you
Is
want to do.
this connection near the cemetery?
No,
On my lot, no, that's Pleasant Street.
no, this is near the railroad tracks, Patrick,
Oh,
near Christina Drive. Mansion Way.
Are we surveying the whole parcel? Because it's a pretty good sized parcel.
I don't think we need this survey.
How much land does the town
Our
have?
engineering department has a complete survey of that site.
Okay, so somebody is going to put an X on a map and show me where this pump station is going. Fine. We'll enlist a surveyor to go out and survey the site. You'll look and see if you can find the existing survey plan. You and Jim will call the town council and get a
Yes.
ruling. Sorry, I'm just focusing, Rick.
Somebody's got to point a finger at you, Rick.
And then, and then we're up
But
and
wait a minute,
running.
you're still going to hire a surveyor, even though the site's already surveyed.
It's huge.
It's huge, it's big.
We're gonna hire a survey to survey the area around where the pump station is going,
Okay.
to give us an
But we'll get-
updated
we're-
current
We're going to
survey.
ask Walpole Engineering Department to produce the plan, the existing plan of the site.
Yes.
It's all, and we'll say it's done by Norwood Engineering, and then you're going to take it from there to minimize
Yes,
where you're going to disturb.
100%.
Yeah, okay.
It's just a supplemental survey, John, to
All right. Again, I'm just worried about the clock spinning here.
Okay? Good to go?
Yep, I think so. Anybody, any objections?
And I'm gonna reach, after we do these due diligence, I'm gonna reach out to Stantec, and maybe you can reach out to Norwood, and let them know we are moving forward with this site. I think that will help them to kind of finalize what they've been working on.
And you CC the engineering department of Norwood or the
Yeah.
water department? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right,
Thank you.
very good, Lee, thank you. All right,
Can we get an updated timeline from the, project plan?
Lee,
In a while.
Jeff has another question for you.
Can we get an updated project plan when you get a chance?
Update
Updated project plan?
schedule.
Yeah, you
Yep.
had one at one time.
Milestone.
Just-
Yep.
Milestone
Next,
chart.
next update.
Okay. The next one here, Darwin Common update plans. I'm going to leave the room here in a minute, but I just was curious. Terry, you have a document here from Tetra Tech, but there's no cover. Was there some cover letter with this that asked this to be presented to the board? Or-
Yes, the zoning board of appeals. The zoning board of appeals sent that to Terry, saying that they were set to hear this next week,
Yeah,
and they had
Right.
requested that
yeah.
you provide additional comments if you had any. So
Okay,
this came from the zoning.
okay,
That's right.
So, yeah, see if you can find that letter. I'd like to see that.
It was an email.
I have it on
Oh, okay, all right. So this is your next topic. Pradeep's going to take over. Darwin Common update plans, comments.
It was an email.
Is anyone from public here for this topic? Okay. So we'll get to you. You can take your time. I read through this letter, and there are some concern raised by Tetra Tech about groundwater protection, and I think they're waiting for more documentation to be provided by the builder, and that's noted on the page first, and multiple pages about the groundwater protection. Patrick or Jeff, Patrick, you have any comment on the letter?
Yeah, I do have a comment, okay. On page 13, the first, number 1, okay, it talks about visitors. But on my street, we get, I don't know, we get UPS, we get all these delivery trucks all the time. I mean, it's amazing. It's like 100 times more than it used to be, let's say 10 years ago. Now, my question is there provisions for this? Because sometimes I've had 2 trucks there delivering stuff to my house. And is this going to make this thing a horror show if we have, 10 delivery trucks in there at Christmas time all bringing stuff?
You asked me, Rick, you gonna talk first, Rick, or?
Me? No?
Before I begin, I just want to, I know you got some information from the zoning board, but this is a legal opinion from our legal counsel regarding the, huh?
I'll pass it.
Okay, you pass it, I'm going to keep one for myself just in case. And also, just so you folks know, I don't know how often you look at your zoning bylaw regarding the water resource protection district, but that's your bylaw, so I think you really should know. For the record, Lou Petrozzi for Wall Street Development Corp. We are the proponent for the Darwin Commons project. Before I begin, I'll answer the question that was raised by Mr. Fasanella. That, today everybody is online shopping. They don't go to the stores. So there are many trucks or many more deliveries expecting for home delivery. But we've designed the project to comply with the regulations for cul-de-sacs and road width. So we don't expect there to be any adverse effects of the truck being in there. The road is going to be plenty wide enough, 24 feet wide. The cul-de-sac will be, the 2 cul-de-sacs that are proposed will be sufficient diameter to handle the largest fire apparatus that the town has, the fire ladder truck. I think it's 82-foot diameter cul-de-sac. So we don't feel like it's going to cause any problems in terms of deliveries.
My concern was that, you're right, you know what the town requires and what most of these subdivisions require, but as I tried to explain, this is a new phenomena where you have everybody getting deliveries. And my question was, how do you take that into account? Because that wasn't the specification years ago, when these specifications were basically, devised. So this is something new that's happened, is that we have a bunch of delivery trucks bringing everything. I mean, how many people go shopping anymore in big buildings?
Well, what are you thinking about would be the impact of those additional trucks? Is it something that will cause an impact?
I want to know, is this plan suitable for that type of activity?
Yes. In terms of road width and infrastructure, definitely will be.
Okay, this guy here is saying, who wrote this plan, that he says all the visitor parking spaces have been eliminated.
So here's the story behind that, because we did meet with him.
Okay, no, let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and it seems that if you take away all the visitor parking spaces, how does that work when you have all these delivery trucks that are going to be coming?
Well,
I mean,
originally-
where are they going to park, on the street, or are they going to?
So originally, when the first plan was submitted, we did have visitor parking on the plan. It was suggested to us that we may want to eliminate the visitor parking to reduce the amount of impervious surfaces. So we did that, but if you notice, I don't know if you folks have received the plan, I don't know how you can comment on a plan if you haven't received the plan, but these driveways are, you could fit 6 cars in these driveways, so I would, in many cases, if somebody's delivering a package, they could easily pull into the driveway for each of these units and drop their packages, or at some point, if somebody were to make a suggestion, we could probably have a central drop-off location where, and we are planning to have a central, like a mailbox station. It could be something that could be worked into the equation. But I think most of these driveways on the tail end and on the cul-de-sacs, those driveways are like 40, 50 feet long, and they would easily accommodate a truck pulling in, one of these Amazon trucks pulling in and backing out, delivering their packages if they needed to be. So, the only thing I would say, if I were concerned about it, I would be concerned about, well, how much is that extra traffic going to contribute to, oils and other things being on the road surface, which is what we're all here to try and protect. But in the stormwater management system that we've designed, all of the surface, anything that drops on the surface of the pavement in a rainstorm gets collected in the deep sump catch basins, and it's all filtered out, and we have storm scepters and all of that stuff to protect the groundwater from that would recharge.
Well, there are ways to keep the oil and the gasoline and those things from getting into the watershed. But what, and this concerns me for all subdivisions, is that they really talk about the salt.
Yeah.
Where they heavily salt, especially if you have any kind of grades, which this does. How do you control the salt from getting into the
Well,
aquifers?
in most cases, when we are in a sensitive area, there's usually a condition placed on the development that we are in we don't use a lot of salt, or it's in a low salt area, so it's not applied. So
Is that going to be a provision here?
this board has the ability to make that recommendation for the zoning board to incorporate into any permit.
Because there are, de-icers you can use.
Exactly. So we would, part of the reason we're here is to get the comments or suggestions from this board to recommend to the zoning board to incorporate those in their decision. So in most cases, like in front of the Conservation Commission, it's a standard provision in their orders of conditions that similar suggestion of that kind of recommendation is made. So we fully anticipate that would be one of the things that we would do, for sure. But I just wanted to go through a little bit of what the legal opinion that we've presented, and it's with the zoning board, because there's been quite a bit of dialogue over whether or not this project is actually permitted or not permitted in the zone. And quite honestly, you know, it's a residential project, it's permitted in the zone. The issue relative to impervious surface is that when you're in a zone 2, you are not allowed to have more impervious surface than 15% or 2,500 square feet. So in this particular instance, we're at 45.6%. And the determining factor, I think you had an email a few weeks ago from the water program, wasn't it? Who was the director of the water, Mass Water? Where they clearly said that if we provide a system of recharge and infiltration, that, and we meet the standards, we're eligible to be over the 15%. In which case, this plan has been designed to accommodate that. Now, you folks haven't received the stormwater report.
Yes, we have.
Excuse me?
Yes, we have.
If you have, you haven't had, the Tetra Tech hasn't reviewed it. So that's in the process of being reviewed, and that will be the determining factor of whether or not we've complied with that portion of the regulations. Once we've achieved that, then we fall under your bylaw, which calls for, and this, a special permit to be issued. Special permits have been issued in your zone 2 in 3 and 4. They're all similar. They've all been issued for the last 30 years. I think your bylaw came in 1987 or 88. And if you look at the provisions that are in section 12 of your bylaw, it talks about you need a complete list of all chemicals, pesticides, fuels, and other potential toxic or hazardous materials stored on the premises in amounts greater than normal household quantities. Now, that's clearly for a commercial type use, because obviously these are all residential uses, so no one is going to have anything above and beyond any normal household quantities. It says the next criteria is a description of measures proposed to protect all storage containers facilities from vandalism, corrosion, and leakage, and to provide for control of spills. Again, this is more geared towards a commercial use than a residential use. These are all, this project will have, you know, municipal water, municipal sewer, gas. There is not going to be any oil on the site. There's no oil heat. So there's not any likelihood of a spill of sorts. Now, what I will say is that under our, you know, when we get our analysis report submitted, there is a concern both during construction and post-construction for if you have vehicles that are being refueled on the site during construction. So there'll be extra precautions for that during construction. And again, the sewer commissioners and water commissioners would be certainly able to make a recommendation to the ZBA to incorporate that kind of a condition. The next condition is a description of potentially toxic or hazardous waste to be generated, indicating storage and disposal methods. So again, this is a commercial type condition for a commercial business. This is a residential development. We don't think that we will be having any kind of those toxic, hazardous materials on the site. It says, where applicable, typical schematic profile of any storage facilities or structures designed to contain potential spills. So the only spill that we're concerned about is, you know, the development is going to be serviced by municipal sewer. Within the development will be a gravity sewer system that will connect to a pump station that will eventually pump sewer up to the Darwin Lane gravity system. So extra efforts are being made to design. We've been working with DPW and town engineer to come up with a design for the pumps chamber in the system to ensure that we've covered the base of, in the event of some sort of a backup or power failure or something that might affect the ability to pump the sewer out of the development. Evidence of approval by the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection of any industrial waste treatment or disposal system or any waste system over 15,000 gallons per day. So that would be for a septic system up to 15,000 gallons a day. We're not proposing that. So it really is, again, for something that is more of a commercial type use. For underground storage of toxic hazardous materials, evidence of a qualified professional supervision of system design and installation. So again, another commercial type of condition. We're not proposing or don't anticipate as a residential development that we will have any kind of underground storage of toxic or hazardous materials. And where applicable, a description of the phasing of earth removal and replacement. So in this, we've been told by our project engineer that we'll probably need about 4,600 cubic yards of material to be used for this site. So there will be trucking of material into the site. We'll provide a schedule on how and when that material will be trucked in. The peer reviewer has suggested, and I don't know you folks what your opinion would be, he's suggested that we use the gravel road out on the adjoining property where the Eversource has their power lines. There's a gravel road there that's not too far from this, probably maybe less than 100 yards into the site, that we use that site for construction access during the project construction. And I don't know if you folks have an opinion on that, but, and then the last criteria that we're responsible for under your special permit requirements of the bylaw is an analysis by a technically qualified expert, such as a registered professional engineer, certifying that the integrity of the underlying groundwater resources will not be degraded. That report has not been provided to neither the zoning board nor to this board, but we anticipate that that will be provided probably within the next 2 weeks. The next zoning board meeting is February 7th, and we anticipate that the report will be forthcoming shortly. So as we've talked about before, the surface runoff from the site post-development is all being captured on site, infiltrated into the ground. There will not be any discharges from the site. There is an overflow. There is an overflow being provided for the stormwater basin that's on that was previously installed on the Darwin Lane subdivision. But other than that, this design will comply with all the rules and regulations of Mass DEP stormwater management guidelines and standards, as well as the Massachusetts water program that's also regulates this project. So I'll just show you just basically what you see here in blue, shaded in blue, is the infiltration chambers that are being located. They're underneath the roadway. Highlighted in red.
You might want to turn it to the camera so they can see. And the people at home can't hear unless you have the mic.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that good? So what you see here shaded in blue is the infiltration chambers that are being installed underneath the roadway. They'll serve as the area where all water will be directed to. We've been out on the site several times and done soil testing on the site, witnessed by the town engineer. We were able to go 12, 13 feet deep into the soils. It's sandy soil. They call it an esker, I guess they call it. And no groundwater, not even a pebble, all complete sand. What's shown in the red is the area that where catch basin to manhole pipe system that will direct all of the water into the infiltration chambers in any storm event up to a 100-year storm event. So there won't be any water that will be leaving the site that will adversely impact the well, or the town well. And then on the reverse side, as I mentioned, the development is being serviced by municipal water and sewer. We will highlight it in blue is the water main, which we are looping within the site. Goes in from here, then loops around the sewer main on both sides of the roadway that loops within the site. And then the sewer main is an 8-inch sewer, gravity sewer, that will be circular to the site. Each house will have its own sewer and water service, and it will be, the gravity system will funnel to a pump station. Pump station will then pump through a force main up the site to Darwin, to the Darwin Lane gravity system.
And there's this fail-safe on those pump systems.
Yeah,
They have reserve tanks or...
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't come up with the final design yet, but we've been, I won't say we've been working with, but we've been in contact with the town's, what we call them, the previous designer of... Yeah, so we just haven't focused on the actual and final design of that building, but there are backup systems, both for a generator, for alarms, and for storage capacity in the event of a power outage. But if there's, obviously, if there's a backup generator, there won't be any, it would really be, the generator would be for power failures, but there's, pumps can run out of steam, or they can malfunction, and that's what we're mostly concerned about, is in the event of a malfunction of the pump, there's a backup pump, and then there's other, what would we call them, alarms and things of that sort, if there was prolonged malfunction. So we are working with the town to come up with the final design, and I'm not quite sure whether or not, I don't know, it was suggested to us that we design something similar to what was on Eleanor Road. Is that what we... But there seems to be some difference of opinion as to whether or not that's the best design for this project. So we're sort of walking our way through that. But yes, anything to do with that, we'll have backup systems to prevent any kind of overflow or that kind of thing. And that's pretty much it. But I think, in terms of comments, if you haven't been presented with a set of plans or the stormwater report, or even somebody who's reviewed the stormwater report, I don't know how you make a recommendation of sorts. But I think the major, from my understanding of it, the Sewer and Water reviewed the project several months ago, probably maybe a year ago, made some recommendations. There was previously the commission was concerned about the proximity of the units. This is down in here, this is your well area. By the way, we did go out and we did survey the distance from the wellhead to the boundary, to the property line. It's 410 feet, so we're beyond the 400 feet protection area. But there was some concern that the commission had at that time that we had things too close to the property line. It was suggested that we incorporate a fence, which I think we've done. There's,
Yeah, your plans show a proposed 6-foot high.
yeah, so, say that again?
Your plans show a proposed 6-foot high.
Yeah, so we've incorporated that. So any comments that you might have made previously, we've tried to incorporate them in to the current plan. And quite honestly, if you think that there's a problem with, the fence can be extended even further. I mean, it just depends on how big of a problem that you think that is. Some people have expressed the concern that, people are going to be throwing things out their window, and it's, they're going to be, using the area that's owned by the town for other types of uses. Certainly, we
That
can.
fence was just meant to delineate between the limit of Area 1 zone.
Yeah.
That's what I-
Yeah, so we're happy to do that, and we can, I don't know, how far does it show the fence on the plan? So I don't know if it's just on the curve part or whether it's...
211 feet.
Yeah, we're happy to extend it even further if that gives the
The
commission...
entire property line.
Yeah, I mean, the back property line. So those concerns that you've expressed before, we've taken them into account.
Is there any alternate for the snow storage that you have right there?
So that's been a question that people have been coming up with. So we do provide snow storage areas. Of course, everyone says, well, how much can you store? And how much, what will you do if you reach the capacity? Well, we would do the same thing the town does when there's no place to store. On the streets, you pick it up and you truck it out, and you move it to another location where you have ability to keep it. But we've provided the snow storage areas, and the question is it enough? And that, I can't tell you that it is or it isn't. It's sort of like an opinion of sorts, based on how much snow you're going to use and how it's plowed and all that stuff. So, but that also can be a condition of an approval that certain amounts of snow storage are available. After that, the requirement is to truck it out, just like the town would do in a parking lot or of some sort. So that's kind of where we're at this
On that
point.
circle down there, you've got 2 areas of snow storage. Can you increase the snow storage on the one that's further?
You're talking down here?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, at one point, we had visitor parking there,
Okay, that's what the...
and as I mentioned, we felt, well, it was suggested to us that we didn't need visitor parking at one time, and so we eliminated it and used it for snow storage or other types of use. So, there are areas where there's sufficient parking. As I mentioned, in the units themselves, you can put 3-4 cars in the driveway, and plus you have a 2-car garage. These aren't the type of units that are going to be attracting large families. They're 2-bedroom condos, 2 or 3, 2.5 bedrooms. So we don't expect that they're going to have a lot more than 2 cars per family and a lot more children that would be of driving age. So we're not concerned about the visitor parking, but we're certainly going to do what we can to, if somebody has a comment that's worth taking into consideration, we certainly will try to apply it,
Can we talk about the trucking, the construction? Yeah, you made a comment about the gravel road. Now,
Yeah, so-
I'm all for reducing, the disturbance to the Darwin Lane residents, but my concern is trucking all that across the Zone 1 area.
Yeah, I think,
So-
this was this wasn't my, it was recommended by or suggested by the peer reviewer. The concern or the trade-off is the disruption to the residents on Darwin Lane versus the trucking in or out from a gravel road off of Washington Street. Those are sort of like the balance.
Cuts right through zone 1.
Yeah, so the question is then, is there a way for that to happen without impacting in an adverse way the well? Okay, so I don't know what that gravel road is used for now. I'm sure.
Get out to some of our wells out there.
It's a service road of some sort that's used. So we can have it monitored. You can put, if it does materialize into something that's a positive that people want, then we can talk about, well, what would be the conditions? Maybe there's a limit on how many trucks per day, or the hours of day, or the types of trucks that would be coming in, trailers versus 10-wheelers. So I'm not familiar enough to know what the concern would be, but certainly it's worth taking a look at as a trade-off. But it is, if you look at it, it's like a clear shot, boom, gravel road right into the thing. I mean, Eversource went in there recently and just cleared the brush, so it's really kind of wide open, and it wouldn't take much to put a gravel road. But I think a gravel, that kind of a use is permitted in the zone 1, I think. But I'm not, I could be corrected.
Yeah, I think it's permitted. What are you hauling in there,
Yeah, well, to us, it's going to be clean gravel. I mean, we have to meet a certain spec on the road, gravel and so on.
Are you guys talking about this just for hauling in the, what'd you say, 45,000 yards of material?
4,600.
4,600?
Yeah, it's 200. It's not a lot.
That's it? That's all you're going to use gravel road for?
Yeah.
Not construction material?
Well, I think what we would try to do it as a trial and error kind of thing. If we do what we say we're going to do and we do it the right way, maybe it gets expanded to, a lumber truck or whatever, or a concrete truck or that kind of thing. Not looking for, again, this wasn't my suggestion, but it wouldn't be something that we'd be saying, trust us, here's a cart, open cart that you can go do whatever you want. Or just, it's been suggested where.
Reduce the impact to the Darwin Lane residents.
Yeah, that's really kind of it. Yeah, so I think they probably would appreciate it, and we'd have to monitor whatever impact there would be to the zone 1.
Patrick, any comment?
So,
I have a quick question, like, would we get this stormwater report or design from the town engineers, like, any comments from them?
The stormwater report we don't have yet.
Oh, we don't have it, okay.
yeah. What happened was,
What was it you sent me, Scott? Revised stormwater report dated 12/7.
yeah.
I believe I sent you a link to all the plans.
Yeah, that's the one I got.
So what happened was we provided it electronically and in hard copy, and for some reason, the electronic copy didn't get relayed to the peer reviewer, and the peer reviewer, as you see in his comments, didn't provide any comments on it because he wasn't able to access it. So that's why I say the first criteria here is to make sure that we've designed something that is in compliance with the rules and regulations, the stormwater standards. And if they say yes, or if they have comments or revisions or suggestions, that's the first criteria. Then after that, your bylaw requirements kick in. And as I read through the requirements, there's really, most of those are for commercial type uses.
That's right. So I think we'll need a comment from the town engineers on the stormwater plan, whether it suffices all the protections.
If I could.
Yes, sure.
I would recommend that the board have the peer reviewer in to discuss any outstanding issues.
Sure, that'd be great, yeah.
But- And I think that we should wait for the review from the peer reviewers before we have another. What I've asked, because our next meeting is until February 7th with the zoning board, I said, well, we don't want to wait a month to get the review on the stormwater report. We would like it to be done sooner rather than later, because we've had it now for quite a while. So hopefully we'll get that in the next week or so, and we can be here at your next meeting to talk about it.
That sounds good.
And then, of course, he's here on my dime, so I mean. So thank you very much, unless there's any
Lots
other.
of questions.
Yes, go ahead.
We'll ask him lots of questions.
Yeah, go ahead, keep him here forever. He rings up a large bill, let me tell you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you call Mr. John? Is it? To move on to the next topic, water main replacement. We'll wait for Mr. Hazelnagor to join us.
Director Mattson. Take your punch.
Thank you.
Okay, continuing on, thank you. We have a football game to meet, so we'll move right along here. Next item, the water main replacement, various locations. Scott, anything on that?
No, it's pretty self-explanatory. The recommendation of award is for big construction that'll go to the select board on the 9th.
Okay.
I have a question. Okay, on the water main replacement at various locations, if you look at the bid, it says plus added alternate number 1
Right.
to the amount of $147,000. What does that mean?
That means if we had enough money to do that street as well, it'd be included. If the bids came out higher and there was insufficient funds, it would not be.
So, I still don't know what that means. I mean, why, they have a bid. Now, why is this thing, what's the added alternative, number 1 mean?
Because if the bids came in higher, then we have money to do every street, then this one would not be done.
Additive alternate was another street.
Okay, that's why we need to see these things, okay? So
So-
we can look them over, because this is the first time I've seen
There's a
it.
base bid and additive alternate one.
Now, when you go to the next one, you don't see that. They don't put that in.
Right, because there was no additive alternate.
That's one project, one line.
So, is it customary that we use AP Associates to review the bids on all these? Is that,
For this type of project, yes.
okay, because you had 11 bids on the water main, and you had 11 bids, same people, saying 11 people bid on both?
Pretty much.
With the exception of one.
Okay, so it was a competitive bidding, yeah, okay.
A question to whomever. Why do we have somebody, AP Associates, reviewing the bid when we used to review them in-house? And we have people who work for us who are very, very knowledgeable about our local needs and wants. So my question is, why did we hire this extra layer?
This is what,
It's part of It's part of a package. That's part of the scope that he was given when he did the design,
Who?
AP Associates.
Yeah, but why was he, why are we using him at all?
Who's going to do the design?
Okay, they have reviewed the bid, right?
He reviews the bids. He
Yeah, and that means, how do they have knowledge of these people that we don't?
They don't.
Okay, then, so there'd be so it's not based only on their,
No.
well, it reads that way.
Right, well, the review, there were 4 parties that did the review.
Okay,
AP Associates, Scott, Stephen.
all right. But you understand that it goes on to say there are no math errors,
Right.
really? And
That happens.
Well, there was a math
deficiencies
error
or
on the second.
irregularities?
The second bid, there was
It just sounds rather strange. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fasenelli. The next item, we voted on the updated meeting schedule, and Terry has included with us the voted dates for your information, if you see that. Any questions about that?
I'll be out of town in July, so I won't be at
Only
the
be
July
missing one
meeting.
meeting, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
and I may miss the last one in June, too. Let me see, what date is that?
24th.
24th.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. Depends when we leave. Okay.
Okay, so then we have the, item 5 is the water pump report.
Excuse me, is this okay to post on the site?
Yes.
Schedule's done.
Yes, Terry, thank
Okay,
you.
thanks.
These are from Commissioner Abbott,
Right,
right?
and
It's a revenue number and the pumping numbers.
so, well, the first one's the pumping. Do you have any comments on that?
It's pumping, I think in December, the numbers looks normal. And the full year numbers calendar year numbers are the same as 2022.
Anybody else? On,
No.
How about on the revenue?
The revenue, I just noticed that on the waste disposal on the sewer side, we already reached $108,000. And this may be because of irregular billing. Most probably, I think we are not billing them in the same fiscal year as 2024.
Does that sound correct, Scott?
What was the question?
The waste disposable number are 108,000. I mean, just like 6 months to, it's like 5 months. Yeah, septic facility, yeah.
Right.
Okay, you good with those? All right. We have, now we have very interesting article on the olive and mint.
Why are we getting this article? This is in
Well, we were
a different
involved,
town.
and we were involved in the sewer line,
Yes, we supplied,
and
but why, I mean,
Currently owing $16,000.
yeah, we're part of
They
the,
pay down because I thought it was higher.
We paid down. We still have an outstanding balance of $16,000.
are they asking us to close it down?
That was information as to whether you wanted to close it down.
Well,
they took their own action, though.
I know they saw that, but
Kind of sounds like Foxborough.
they haven't requested anything from us, right?
No.
I mean, they shut down. They're not getting a food permit. I mean, they're pretty much done as of January 1, from what I read.
Yeah, I was, it's so interesting. If I knew ahead of time, I would have tried to attend that New Year's Eve party. Exciting.
That will be Bollywood party, you know that?
Bollywood.
Right.
Okay.
Guys, doing the events.
So we have MWRA water connection, we did have Leah here. I guess the big thing, Patrick gave us a very detailed report here from CDM Smith, and I guess that's a concern. We just have to, I think, we agree, we want to keep the ball moving on this, and we don't want any slowdowns. I found it a little bit scary, but maybe Mr. Fastnail would like to make an observation.
Well, I want to reflect on your observation. If you look at this report and you read it a certain way, you'll see that when they're finished, there's basically nothing left for Walpole, all these other towns that they've left out. So I'm concerned about that because we were basically promised to be in this study, and I don't see our town at all in it. And it may be an oversight. This report may have been written before, we were included. But I have a meeting next week, and I will put that forth, find out what's going on, and send you an email, folks, so that
Would you
we'll all
like us to
know.
make a vote on that, to ask you to formally?
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
You don't, I'll gladly send you an email on what they tell me.
Yeah, would you tell them that we do have a consultant, and we're hoping that the consultant is staying in touch and letting them know that we're vigorously pursuing this?
I will let them know that.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Fessler.
You're welcome.
Jarvis Farm, Pradeep, you have any thoughts on Jarvis Farm, or Jeff?
Did we get the updated survey proposal?
No, I've requested that to be refined down to just what is impacting the lot location and not everything else that was proposed before. To basically identifying the conservation restrictions, how it overlaps with the parking lot. If it does.
We never took a vote on declaring the cabin circle based on the map. Can we put that on the agenda next time?
For the next meeting? Yeah, okay.
So one thing relative to Jarvis Farm, there's going to be an article, I believe, on the spring annual town meeting warrant relative to the allowed use of solar panels. So rather than, it's my understanding that rather than go back for every single parcel individually, they want to establish some sort of regulation that says if you want to put solar, you can go through the permitting process without having to go back to town meeting every single time. Question is, this would be on.
Overlay district?
No, this is independent of that, Jeff, I believe. And this is just town-owned parcels only. Not any, wide open space anyway. It's exclusive to town parcels. So the question came up, would we want to include Jarvis Farm in that as a potential site for?
On the parking areas, maybe.
Yeah, Pradeep had proposed a canopy
Yeah,
type.
on the parking.
Right, still solar though.
Yeah, so we would probably want to be
So-
included in that part.
So you do want it to be included, because they want to identify the town parcels.
Yeah, we'll take a vote on that right now for you.
Okay,
then-
that's all that I have, Was there anything else, Scott?
No.
Well, on the solar topic, which is just a sidebar to this we're discussing right now, but I saw a notice for the Corsage project that we reviewed the plans of and gave them the okay. They're at conservation this Wednesday, and the application says for land disturbance of 299 acres, which is I'm mortified at because they talked about 5 megawatts, which 5 megawatts is less than 20 acres. So I'm wondering what the heck? I don't know who's approving that. But anyway, I guess that doesn't, it's not on our thing, but I was just shocked. I guess we have to watch these solar things, see how big they get. Okay, we want to vote, entertain a motion to have Jarvis Farm included and the opportunity to have an expedited solar opportunity?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any comment?
Quick discussion. Rick, when does the article get finalized?
I believe it's on the spring annual town meeting warrant.
You know, when does the warrant need to get?
The warrant closes on the 12th, this Friday.
And all the parcels need to be identified by then?
I believe they have a good amount of them identified. That's my understanding, yeah. I could be wrong, but.
They usually backfill when it's a town article. They
Yeah.
have some leeway to fill in the blanks.
It'll be very generic, I think. It will be very generic statement saying that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we would have to approve it, but I mean, it would allow us to do it more expeditiously than go through the whole
Yeah.
procedure.
Exactly, rather than doing them individual.
Yeah, it's a good idea. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, 400. So you have that vote. And then the last one, meter to cash.
I think there was one issue I noticed in December. There was a delayed billing, and Scott, he followed with Derek, we're not billing due, and he gives some explanation about why the bills were delayed. And I think they're trying to catch up next cycle. So that's one thing. The question is your new meters,
Yeah, the pilot program?
pilot program?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's the status of it?
Right now, we're scheduling the meters to be installed, and the software needs to be installed in the town hall for the meters that are involved in the program. So it's actively on.
That's going to
We talked
include,
about the commissioners.
yeah, the commissions are included in that.
Right,
You get my address?
several, yeah.
Yeah, I have one sidebar to that also. Ironically, I've been stopped 3 times in the last 2 weeks by residents, one at the Walpole Mall, one in Bird Park, and one downtown, saying the same thing, that they get a new meter installed, and then their bill went way up, and they wanted me to, I referred them to Derek. I mean, they wanted me to try to explain, they thought maybe the new meters charge more, or
No.
they were trying to figure out why their bills, all 3 of them was the same comment. Virtue, what's this, trying to think of who they were now.
So when you have a mechanical meter, the tendency is for the meter to slow down over time, not speed up. So if it's been in there for over 10 years and it's slowing down, then
So
you get one
that's
that's
in the
actually
catch-up.
accurate. Yeah, you're putting an accurate meter in.
Okay,
They're paying for what they're using.
yeah, so it's a pull forward of what was
Right, take
slowed
it
down.
out.
Yeah.
So we don't know the other side, you won't mess us around.
Okay, any other business? All right, a motion for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second? Moved and second, all in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned, thank you.